Hi everybody, Lori here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to introduce the newest STAMPtember collaboration with Altenew. And this beautiful floral stamp set is called Rose Reverie. And as always, Altenew makes the most beautiful floral stamp set. There's several sentiments in this set. There's thanks a million, hello. There's thinking of you, beautiful fonts as well, congrats. And then there's a little love you and a sweet little butterfly. Okay, so I'm going to emboss this large floral cluster in clear on a panel of white cardstock. I'm using Hammermill. Any white cardstock will do. I'm starting with the Simon Says Stamp embossing powder tool, which I highly recommend. And I'll tell you, for years I didn't think I needed a tool. I had the old bag and I thought, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then I tried the tool and I thought, why did I waste so much time? Because it is a beautiful tool. Okay, so I rubbed it down with the powder tool. I'm inking up the floral cluster with Versamark ink, stamped it a couple times, and then I'm going to pour on some Simon Says Stamp embossing powder in clear. You could also do this in white. I'm going to color this image in with Emboss Resist, one of my favorite ways. But there's a lot of different looks you can get if you want to do Copic marker coloring or watercoloring. There's the no line watercoloring. But this is my favorite thing to do, is Emboss Resist. Okay, so I pulled out the Simon Says Stamp glass mat. I like to emboss on it, especially when I have a full panel. And once I get that all melted, I'm going to go in. I'm going to be using Pawsitively saturated ink, starting with Limalicious. And I'm just going to do a few of the leaves, not all of the leaves. I decided to shake it up a little bit and make several different colors of leaves just to live on the edge and keep it exciting. Another thing I could have used was my Altenew inks, because they have so many colors to choose from and they do blend like butter as well. But I have my Pawsitively inks just right to the left of me, and I grab what's nearest. Okay, here we have Tide Pool. And so, by the way, I'm also using my Simon Says Stamp blender brushes. They work like butter. So you can see I did a mixture of lime and Tide Pool on the leaves, and that's how you live on the edge. that's how exciting my life is. Okay, that is not meant to be negative, because I am perfectly fine with that amount of excitement in my life. Okay, as far as the blooms, now I'm not sure, I guess these are roses because it's called Rose Reverie. And I didn't exactly Google roses, but I'm going for some two-tone roses. So I did a mixture on the top of peony and cantaloupe, and then down on this bottom rose, I have a little blush. And then I'm going to pull out a little yellow, a little sunbeam. I did switch to the smaller blending brushes. Now I'm trying to make sure that I don't bleed too much into other images, but it is going to bleed. You know, like a little bit of that Tide Pool is getting into the cantaloupe, and that's okay. It's kind of got a dreamy, let's just go with dreamy for an adjective. But you know, this isn't about perfection. Now here I'm coming in with the smaller brush with Field, and I'm adding a little bit of shading to those Limalicious leaves just to give them a little dimension, just a little bit of excitement, a little bit of gradient love. Okay, so a little bit of Field here and there. So that mixture of Field and Limalicious for the leaves is a beautiful combination. And then now to spice up the little Tide Pool bits of leaves, I pulled out Tropic. And this is the next shade darker in that little trio. So you've got, I believe it's Tide Pool, Tropic, and Aegean, if that's how you pronounce it. But now when I started this card, I didn't really have a color scheme in mind. I was just kind of grabbing inks and going with the flow, and you're never quite sure if it's going to work. And there are times when you're like, oh boy, have I gone too far? Do these colors not go well? But I find if you just stick with it and don't give up, keep adding, but don't add too much. Now, I went over it with a dry paper towel to get any of that ink that might have been resting on top of that clear embossing powder. It really makes that embossing pop. I didn't have the coordinating dies to go with the stamp set. I believe they are selling coordinating dies, but I didn't have them at the time of this video, so I kicked it old school and fussy cut the whole shebang. Now I have a white card base here, an ivory panel. I've got my cluster. I'm getting the lay of the land because I wanted to see where I wanted to stamp a sentiment, and I'm trying to tuck it in. I chose to stamp hello. There's a lot of great sentiments to choose from in the stamp set. I'm using VersaFine ONYX black ink, and I just simply nestle that hello right in there in the sweet spot. So I'm popping up my embossed cluster on that ivory panel. And then, now before I put this on the card base, this is debatable, but every now and again I get the itch to do a little flicking. So I smushed some black soot on an acrylic block, picked it up with a wet brush, and I did like 2 flicks. I really had to rein it in. And it's debatable whether or not that was a good decision or a bad decision, but sometimes you just get the itch to flick it up. And then now to finish it off, I added a few of these clear sequins just to give it a little shimmer shine. I like to tuck them. I like the different sizes. And I'm using some Barely Arts glue and that, what's it called? That Simon Says Stamp wand. I use it every single day. And this card is finished. What a glorious Rose Reverie stamp set collaboration for STAMPtember with Altenew. Make sure and check out the Simon Says Stamp blog for more inspiration. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at SimonsSaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.